Now, I don't know what you think, but I think people just got bored of DaBaby. I want to talk about this conversation that's going around right now regarding DaBaby being blackballed from the music industry. Also, gotta talk about these first week sales cause they just came in. So like you probably know at this point, you should have made like a million videos on this. DaBaby dropped an album the other day, Baby on Baby 2. It was somewhat of a surprise drop since it got announced only a few hours before its release. So we talked about the album projections like 3 days ago. The projections were around 16,000 and the final numbers are actually in. DaBaby upped the score by about 1,000 and some. So 17,000 first week is what DaBaby sold with his album Baby on Baby 2. When the projections initially came in, we saw DaBaby put up this Instagram story blaming his low projections on the fact that he's blackballed. That started a huge conversation on social media, mostly Twitter. Some of y'all might have seen that tweet I put up. It went kind of crazy, honestly, but this is what I said. And I put this up about a day and a half ago at the time of me recording this. DaBaby is not blackballed, I said. He just hasn't evolved musically in the last 3 years. People got bored of him. That's all. By the way, you should definitely follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty active on there, honestly. 50% of my tweets are hip-hop related. The other 50 is a mix of inspiring shit, funny tweets, and some other things. But anyway, can we just start here with this DaBaby tweet that I put up? Can we agree on the fact that this 17K DaBaby sold? A lot of it has to do with the fact that DaBaby just hasn't grown as an artist these last few years. And this is the criticism I had for DaBaby when he blew up back in 2019. DaBaby was one-dimensional back then. Over 3 years later, he's still as one-dimensional, which is a huge factor as to why his hype has died down. As for the other factor, this was a surprise drop. Barely had any promo. Also, since it was somewhat of a surprise drop, he didn't have any singles that led up to the release of the project, and that's obviously going to have a huge negative effect on the numbers. That being the case, when has the lack of promotion ever truly stopped an artist's fan base from listening to their shit? As an example, take NBA Youngboy, who recently on September 7 dropped a new project, Realer 2. Now mind you, there was zero promotion for this project. Youngboy literally woke up one morning and said, I'm going to drop a project for my fans cause why not? So Youngboy dropped Realer 2 and what happened? NBA Youngboy ended up selling 40K first week and he did that shit with ease. Also consider the fact that this was Youngboy's 4th project of the year. The last Slime Meadow, which dropped back in August, that was the project he dropped before this. That one ended up doing 114K first week. Youngboy wasn't even active on social media during the time when he was supposed to promote the album. Despite that, he came out on top and pushed over 100K first week. Speaking of Youngboy and DaBaby, back in March, they of course ended up dropping that joint project Better Than You. It did 30K first week, and I always suspected that the reason why this project flopped was cause of DaBaby. Looking back on it now, it's clear to me that was the case. Anyway, let's talk about this whole blackballing thing though. When DaBaby's album dropped, it was actually at the front page of Apple Music. Here are the screenshots. DaBaby himself even posted it on his IG. About that, I'll say this. DaBaby is allegedly, just to protect myself, he's allegedly getting suppressed on Apple Music because I remember how shortly after his project was nowhere to be seen at the front. So there's obviously some industry politics going on over there, and I'll just leave it at that. But he was visible at the front page initially though. Apple Music aside, DaBaby had placements on some of the major rap playlists on Spotify, Rap Caviar, the biggest being one of them. Also, his music videos are still getting pushed in the YouTube algorithm. He dropped a Boogeyman music video the other day, and that's doing decent. It's sitting at 1.2 million views, although that is pretty low for DaBaby's standard. Makes sense though, since DaBaby's at the stage he's at. I think the elephant in the room when we take a look at DaBaby's career is what I said earlier. People are just bored of his music, man. DaBaby hasn't grown as an artist in the last couple years. That's gonna have a negative effect on your numbers. On top of that, all the press DaBaby's gotten throughout his time in the industry has 9 times out of 10 been about something that's completely unrelated to his music. I mean, this is the same man who was walking around in a diaper a few years back. Yes, you heard that right. DaBaby a few years back took the antics to a whole nother level by rocking a diaper.
Packing the mail, it's gone.
And what exactly have we learned from seeing the countless of rappers who focus on antics rather than the music? They all end up falling off eventually. I recognize the fact that DaBaby has pissed off the entire industry, rightfully, because he's been on some bullshit since the day he came in the game. However, in the case of DaBaby, let's recognize the fact that his hype, music-wise, is currently at an all-time low. A lot of people are talking about DaBaby, but how many of those conversations are actually about his music? So DaBaby selling 17K first week does not come as a surprise to me at all. Personally, I would not say that he's blackballed. Getting blackballed essentially means that you're getting shut down and rejected in this case by the music industry. Did DaBaby really get blackballed, or did he take himself out of the game by not only his actions, but by the lack of growth in his music? The alleged suppression on Apple Music he faced does validate the fact that there's some truth to it, but if he truly got blackballed, DaBaby would not have any placements on, as an example, the biggest rap playlist on Spotify, because blackballing entails that you get entirely shut out. So if he was really blackballed, they would straight up reject him from even paying for an editorial placement, but that obviously didn't happen, did it? Think about it like this. Consider all the press DaBaby's gotten in, let's say, the last not 12 months, let's say 14 months, so we can take the Rolling Loud comments into account. All this press DaBaby's gotten should somewhat feed into his first week sales, and so the number should be higher, right? But that didn't happen. Now the question is, how come some rappers like DaBaby get all this publicity, drops an album, and flops, while other rappers like YoungBoy, who doesn't get a lot of industry support, is out here thriving? It all comes down to the fan base. If you're lit and you gotta like that as a rapper, it's gonna be visible in the numbers, period, regardless of if you're blackballed. Now don't get me wrong, you probably won't be doing super big numbers, especially depending on the level you're at as an artist, but you get the point. The fact that the strength of his audience failed to override the cancellation of DaBaby tells me that he's just not that hot now. Not only is it reflected in the numbers as far as his music, but don't forget what happened recently in New Orleans. DaBaby couldn't even pull an audience of 500 people, which led to the promoters canceling the show. How can we look at an artist of this stature struggling to pull an audience of 500 people in a city like New Orleans and say that the reason why their album flopped is because they're blackballed? DaBaby has made way too many missteps for us to blame it on that, and that's why I entirely blame it on Baby. Anyway, people just got tired of DaBaby, man. That's what I think happened here. From where I stand, it's very evident why DaBaby sold merely 17K in first week sales. Anyway, my opinion aside, what do you think? Is DaBaby blackballed, or did the world just get tired of listening to him? I say the latter. Maybe you're gonna disagree. Definitely let me know in the comment section below, and like this damn video. Like it. Let's have a discussion about this.